So this is Alysya's place. And let me read the blurb that they have written here. My name for this build is The Other Side. What starts with a visit to a temple to the lower results in you getting sent to the afterlife. One must progress through 9 sections of hell, all inspired by Dante's Inferno in an attempt to escape. Okay, so I think this one I need notes. Dante's Inferno. I know there's like this whole 9 circles of hell thing, which is, you know, very pleasant and all that. So I think I have an idea. So anyone who is really familiar with the story of all that, you know, definitely follow along and help us out with that. That would, of course, be very helpful. In the meantime, though, we start off very pleasant, right? We're starting off very pleasant. We have this. Oh, look at that! They even have travelers that are coming by as well. We start off, you know, like I said, cool. It's like kind of dark, kind of rainy, a little spooky over here because we're in the spooky part of Founders Point, which is a very popular spot. People love it, far more than Razorwind, which I honestly love. We're going by some ruins, and up front, check this out. So once again, similar to the Pandaria house, we have something that is entirely not the houses that we have been provided with from Blizzard. Instead, they have like these big shapes, big fountains, big fantastical things that obscure what the house is really supposed to be. You know, so for the folks who are like, yo, you know, I'm not so fond of like maybe some of the things that are provided by the shop, or, you know, because they have like a whole skin. It is possible to pull something off on your own. Of course, at the cost of budget. And so it's very good news. We saw something from Jesse Kalanchik, who runs a lot of the housing team, announced that we're going to have like larger budgets coming in the 1207 patch. Please correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I do remember seeing a statement from them. But yeah, really cool setup. It has this whole like kind of temple vibe. So now I'm very curious to see how this all plays out. It has been long enough that I don't quite remember how this build is. So 9 circles, that's going to be a trip. So let's see what's going on here. We come inside and it's very, very forested. Things are very, very tightly closed off. We have these Gilnean walls here on the side as we kind of like go through a shroud and make our way in, passing these rickety boards and into like this very, well, this very natural, this very far, it's like we're in the jungle of sorts. So we're going through, climbing over some of these Herondar greens that have been set up, and up these boards. These are like Gilnean tables, by the way, that we're climbing up. And there's like a little Murgle pet. Okay, so it feels festive, but I have a feeling it's not going to last for very long. So we're climbing up. Also climbing up these trees, we get kind of a view of what's below. We were like just down there. So it's getting kind of precarious as we make our way up. Really pretty. Yeah, we can see like how some of like, you know, the limits of housing and like the boards that we're seeing there sometimes kind of break us out. And, you know, part of the challenge is for gamers to overcome that or to kind of obscure that. So for example, in this skybox room, you know, this double level room, we're going to be doing this climb up here and we have all these like great shapes. But also you'll notice here, like the walls, they've been skinned, you know, this dark blue. So we're not really outside, we're just in a regular room and we're able to walk through it. But instead of having like a lot of textures and things like that, they just have like these solid colors. And we have the illusion of the moon plus moonbeams coming out and everything. Some wind action happening too. And we climb. We continue this climb up these benches now. So I'm pretty sure these are benches that we're navigating our way through. We make our way up to the top. We made it. Congratulations. And now we enter this temple of sorts. You know, after going through like this kind of carved out cave structure. Oh, check this out. Nice. Very nice. So what we have here is a mix of like these big troll structures, right? Along with some table work here. So these are like just regular old walls, but then we have like these Zandalari tables that are lining across this area. So for those who are like skeptical of, oh man, like what about the troll decor? What about that? There are ways you can like work your way through it and create something that might not be exactly what you want, but you can always like manipulate things and use lighting tricks, dyes, color certain colors to make all this work. So really neat setup. All for whatever like ritual things that might be happening over here. Big spreads of foods or sacrifices, book burning. Hey, that's big on trolls, I guess. Not really big on books, I suppose. Sacrifices to like some of the Loa. Very neat. Oh, look at that. Loa of puppies. There's a puppy Loa, and he demands a sacrifice of paladin hammers. Sure. No problem. And then we come across here, and now we have what appears, to me at least, as this big effigy of one zombie. Big old Death Loa vibes as we get to this spot. We climb up these curved elven tables, cross right over, and then up. I think I'm supposed to fall. Yes. Okay, so this is what they're talking about. The whole, it started off as, okay, that's a big poop shoot. It started off as this exploration, and then all of a sudden, I guess here's like the river Styx, and here is a fellow guest in the form of a prey trophy. And we're kind of navigating through, but then I guess they get to use a boat. I do not. And so here we go. Let's begin our little adventure through the 9 circles of hell. Should be pleasant. It's all good. Just one other dungeon, right? Now, I'm trying to read through here, and again, maybe chat can help for those who like know this knowledge offhand. So the first circle is called limbo. So I guess disorientation or confusion, something like that. Now, when it comes to this, so we're going to see something that's a bit more artsy, maybe a little bit more abstract, and so we might feel a little disoriented. But sometimes the expression that comes from these builders, comes from like a very personal spot. Sometimes we see things that come from fandom. Like I'll see something from Studio Ghibli. I'll see something from Stranger Things. I've seen Tim Burton stuff. I've seen all sorts of like references that sometimes I don't quite get. So sometimes I might need your guys' help when doing these sorts of visits. So here's someone, a member of the fellow dead, and we're trying to go through here. So you can volunteer to be baptized at any point and be released. Oh boy. So, okay, actually, Wise Guy is here. They're able to, the boss is here to help explain stuff. Yeah, so that will help. It's where virtuous pagans can hang out. Okay, so it's a nice spot. And it seems so because they're painting, they're kind of vibing. Like this guy, okay, this person, okay, they're painting, but they're using AI to like do all that stuff. So, yeah. Sorry, I'll look down on like auto quills as well, if you want to call it that. Now we're also being kind of corralled through. So there are different ways to go across, and we're going to be good sports. We're going to go through the journey that they laid out for us. Through this, I would say like it's a blood elf kind of temple, but we're kind of seeing like, again, abstract stuff. So what we might see as like in Warcraft terms might not actually be what they're sort of depicting here. So this dude's chilling, right? This dude's chilling right in front of, okay, yeah, enjoy yourself. I'm going to get out of the pool. But hey, if they want to hang out in the pool, stare at a statue all day, by all means, it's all good. So we're going to go through this shroud, and this might take us to the next spot, which is very much a vibe shift. The second circle is called Lust. All right, so Wise Guy, you might need to give me a quick blurb on this. So what are we going through here? So we're seeing beds, and okay, so I think that's what's being depicted as this interpretation of lust. We're walking on top of a bunch of beds, and we also have like this whole haze, this kind of blinding haze that's love, lust, what have you, that tends to be confusing. It tends to distort the senses and all that. Well, what's really cool here, so, breaking it down, we have a bunch of these different void wells, I think is what they're called. And they shoot like these particles in all sorts of different directions. So it's really neat seeing a whole bunch of them dance, this way, that way, up and down, and create like this really neat effect of it being like this void particle blizzard sort of thing. But yes, this whole interpretation is walking on many, many beds is how they depicted this. That's neat. All right. So it's meant to buffet people around just like the whims of romance can throw you astray. Now that is very artsy sounding. That's so unfulfilled desire. Very interesting. Yeah, that's all. It's poetry. It's well beyond me. I'm just a big brute when it comes to this. So the third circle. This is gluttony. All right, dude. Yeah. So here we have delicious cakes, but we also have like this sort of like foggy, actually, no, it's food. We got stews. We've got roasted piggies. We've got, okay, if this is gluttony, is this smell like kind of like doo-doo? Is this like a big poop joke too? Because that's really close to it. Dead fishies that's waiting to be cooked. We got more stews. So this dude is just engorging, non-stop eating in their own little circle of hell. Bring on yeah, absolutely, with the pie. So yeah, obviously all the foodstuffs, but also I guess what you end up getting stuck in this filth. If you're just, oh, he's eating on dirt. Come on, man. At least take it out there. There's like a fire right there if you want to like reheat it or something, dude. So again, very artsy build that we have here. Now through the neck shroud, greed. Oh yeah. So this one I'm kind of familiar with. So what we have here, we have like these dudes who are trying to earn money. So what they're doing, they're dragging rocks, I think. Yeah, they're dragging these rocks of this endless climb. And why are they doing it? Because supposedly they're going to get paid. And there's like some of that money. But is it money? Nah, not really. They're just going to be going up and down and up and down. Then they fall off and they do it again in this endless loop. Ooh, brutal. But that's all of us. Okay, it's most of us. All right, about that. Now, the next spot, ooh, the fifth circle is wrath. Okay, so, ooh, we see all sorts of awful cruelty here. Oh, this is really neat work. So notice here we have lots of like these Legion chains. So thank you, Legion Remix, for making this really accessible for folks who bought like a whole bunch of these. But really neat. I love the artsy look of this. All these chains, and you feel trapped, you feel oppressed. You're obviously these are painful chains if you happen to get wrapped up in these. Oh, that's really neat. And then notice here, up above us is the River Styx. So there it is again. So they're like navigating through. We're on foot. we gotta kind of deal with it. Oh, really good stuff. Whoop. I gotta kind of like navigate my way through because I think this is the way out. Yeah, so I cheated. Like I already went through here. I just never quite understood everything out, but I do know where the exits are. All right, so now things brighten up some. All right. So the sixth circle is heresy. And so, okay, that's funny. As soon as we walk in, boom, Terralian, heresy. Yeesh. So, if Wise Guy can explain a little bit of what's going on here. So a lot of book burning, noticing that. Yeah, so I guess stopping like crazy ideas or what have you. Really neat. Oh, they're even burning coffins too. Yeesh. So I burned the heretic, I suppose. Lots of materials of worship, false gods being burned. Ah, got it. Very good. So notice here, it's like, you know, Atralian's like, yeah, I'm in charge of this one. This is all me. And then, of course, Xal'atath is getting cooked. They're down there. Yeah, really cool uses of color and lighting here, too. Funny enough, there's a priest banner right over there. That is also unscathed. Interesting. I do think that Caesar's is prettier. Oh, the previous build? I mean, like I said, there are things to appreciate with housing that come off differently. Sometimes housing does a great job of like sending a message and eliciting different emotional reactions. By the way, this is the 7th circle, violence. Cool. So I'm almost surprised that there isn't like, well, you know what? I guess we can't have really that, you know, too strong depictions of like violence here, but clearly there's some going on. Dude, that dude straight up like, he straight up fireballed this person here. Oh, okay, this is a really cool statue, by the way. Love this thing. Kill all the rares in Zul'Aman, by the way, if you want to crack at that thing, because that thing's massive. Lots of fun to play with, too. But yeah, violence, being tortured and being choked up by vines, being speared, hunted, attacked. That's intense. Yeah, I'm seeing on like the whole wiki that there's like a lot of like things that are fitting in here, like against neighbors, violence against neighbors, yourself, and against nature. So kind of a trip. So now we're climbing down as we head over to the 7th circle? No. Going into the 8th circle. We're actually almost all the way through. Boop, boop. So we come down. Now this is the circle of fraud. And I kind of remember how this had like a mini jumping puzzle to it. It's filled with treacherous, spiky trenches. No kidding. Because I'm like, there's no avoiding this. I'm like, yeah, okay, I got armor and everything, so I'm fine. But not everyone is. So I gotta like, you know, sort of navigate my way through if I were to really try and avoid things here. But we're in the thick of it. You know, here we are in first person. And this is the kind of horror that you gotta deal with. So like some folks ain't coming out so great. Yeah, this is supposed to be the 9 circles of hell that we're navigating our way through. Ooh. So now I can kind of make my way out. So now I get to play jumping puzzle for a bit. Yay! So I jump across, and across, and across, and across one more time. And now we can kind of like survey like what is typically a small room, but you can do so much with it as to like, you know, in this case, we're going around like all these different paths and whatnot to make the scale of a room be a lot bigger than what it normally is. So we'll go through like this next shroud here. And I think we're supposed to be entering the 9th circle, which is, I can't see. I'll let Wise Guy. But oh, wow. So we got a beast over here. We got this 3-headed eye of Acarus. Treachery. So the devil himself is trapped in a lake of ice. Oh, this is a really cool creature though. It's a little floofy. Now this is the most evil floof of them all. So let's take some time to admire the craftsmanship here. So we got like these little rug rolls or these towel rolls that are being used as the feet plus barrels. We have these other little rug rolls. So it's like here's like a big version of it, and then here's like a little version of it. So you can see how adaptable some of these pieces ended up being. This dude's coming out of the freaking dark portal, and it looks like he has, okay, that's like fur, but it almost looks like a bib, which is almost endearing. He has like some curved tables for some body parts, and yeah, some more of those kind of curtains being used for like the soft underbelly. And then who is down here? So I think this is Satan, right? So this is Satan who's supposed to be like stuck in the ice, and then the creature. Okay, Cerberus is guarding it. Ah. So it's a little bit of a mix-up. That's neat. So here is where bad guy is, being trapped. But he's not happy. You know, he's like, I'll get you in the next expansion. Or, yeah, we'll get to it. We'll get to it eventually. Really neat setup, though. Very cool. Love the floor work, too, by the way. You know, it could have been normal ice, but now we have this whole, like, shattered ice effect. That's really adding a lot of texture to it. Awesome stuff. I've seen numerous kinds of variations of this. What I find cool is that there's like different sizes of these little paving stones to give it some added effect. Really neat. And so now we will exit through here. Oh wow! There's even good use of the new opals that will come out from the core duels. So they're pretty cheap, by the way. But you can buy a bunch of these, and they come pretty big. So you can do all sorts of stuff. Like in this case, you have like this sort of like icy room set up. Do a couple rounds of that, and you'll be able to go even further. And so that's cute. That's a cool little setup. I like that. I find that adorable. Screenshot. Got to get that. And so now we have one last dude who got, oh no, they sacrificed the lion to get us out here. No. All right, so I think now things are looking a little twisted, but I think we're kind of like making our way out. So this feels like kind of a trip as we're going through here. And we're navigating our way out, which I believe we are out. Because if I turn around, it's gone. So we've effectively left all 9 circles of hell, I think. Have we? I'm not sure. Here, let me go through here. Actually, if we go through here, if we go through here, now it's all blocked off. And now we've entered like the entrance again. So try to get through. And there's the door. Boom. Does it mean we go to heaven? Yeah, we went to the next house. Awesome experience. Yeah, again, very artsy with the way it was set up. You know, not every build has to get like, oh, let's get like this perfect kit bashing together and all that stuff. You know, some of it's great, but other times, you know, like I said, sometimes housing can send a cool message, and that feels very, very effective. You know, there's a great way of eliciting like some emotional energy into some of this. In this case, folks who are like big writing buffs who understand Dante's Inferno and know the story, I'm sure they'll like nerd out over this. Like, dude, is that blah, blah? You know, so it's cool because sometimes you can just take like little vague references or like vague inferences, and then someone will pick up on it because their imagination will just hop into it like right away. So very cool stuff. Thank you very, very much for showing me your place.